Breaking news! Something big is happening with the Ravens. Something that could redefine this season, shake up this roster, and maybe even change the direction of this team for years to come. But the big twist? It's not just about what's already happened, it's about what might be coming next. But before we dive into that, be sure to like this post if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you want, comment, *Go Ravens, * to show the fans that you're united in cheering them on. So let's dive right in. Chidobe Awuzie, or Cheeto, as the fans call him, sparked a mix of concern and hope this week. He missed Wednesday and Thursday's practices due to a foot injury, and for a moment, it felt like Ravens fans might have to brace for a significant loss ahead of Sunday night's critical showdown with the Patriots. But then, Friday came. Cheeto returned to practice, limited, yes, but he was back. And in a team fighting tooth and nail for playoff momentum, that small glimmer of hope lit a fire. John Harbaugh called him iffy for Sunday, but let's be real, if this guy suits up, he's playing like his season depends on it. And he should, because the Ravens need every spark they can get. Cheeto has been sensational this year. Quietly one of the team's most effective corners, his presence has given the secondary a consistent edge that's hard to find this late in the season. And if he's able to go Sunday night, at home, with no travel needed, just rest and preparation, it could be a huge boost. Especially with other guys like John Jenkins also recovering from illness, as the flu bug is reportedly making its rounds through the locker room. Jenkins, another key rotational piece on the defensive line, is expected to play. But again, the Ravens are flirting with the edge of their depth chart at the worst possible time. Now here's where things get interesting. Let's talk about Derrick Henry. The talk all season has been about whether he's washed, whether he's done, whether he can still carry the load. And honestly, the disrespect is insane. Henry currently has over 1,100 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, and is averaging 4.8 yards per carry, all while running behind one of the most inconsistent offensive lines in the league. That stat line isn't just good. That's top-tier production. If you've been watching every snap like real fans have, you know he's had some jaw-dropping moments, even if the highlight reels haven't always captured them. He's been quietly dominant. Let's not forget, he's doing this with defenses keying in on him and a line that hasn't exactly open gaping holes. If anything, it should make Ravens fans appreciate him even more. When you watch Henry barrel through the line, sometimes for only 2 or 3 yards, it's not because he's lost a step, it's because he's often fighting for every inch. And when he gets space, you've seen it. The burst is still there. The power hasn't faded. And with the playoffs on the horizon, his role could be absolutely pivotal. And here's the kicker. What if Keith Mitchell had that same opportunity with more reps? There's a belief floating around that Mitchell, with his explosiveness and quickness, could thrive behind this same offensive line in a way even Henry hasn't. That's no knock on the king. It's just a testament to what Mitchell might be capable of in a more defined role. The Ravens line doesn't hold blocks long, that's a fact. But Mitchell doesn't need much. He's shown flashes, quick burst, big play potential. If Baltimore finds a way to unlock both weapons in tandem, watch out. But here's the looming cloud, the offensive line. The question isn't just about Derrick Henry's production. It's about whether this line can hold up when it matters most. Because no matter how good Henry is, no matter how explosive Mitchell might be, if the blocking isn't there, the play dies before it starts. That's why some fans are already looking ahead to the offseason, wondering if the Ravens should have prioritized the line more heavily in the draft. And if this team falls short in the postseason, that's where the finger will point first. Now let's zoom out. There's a deeper frustration brewing among fans, and it centers on wasted opportunity. Baltimore had one of the most balanced, explosive rosters in recent memory last season. And yet, no Super Bowl. That hurts. And it lingers. Because while the team has shown promise this year, and while they've overcome a lot, fans are still wondering, is this team built to finish? That question bleeds into other topics, too. Like Marlon Humphrey, there's growing conversation about whether it's time for him to transition to safety. And it's not hate, it's realism. Humphrey's been getting beat more often this season. The instincts are still there, the leadership too. But if the body isn't keeping up with top receivers anymore, maybe it's time to make that shift. And what if it works? A 3-safety set with Hamilton in the box, Humphrey and Malachi Starks deep? That's scary, in a good way. And then there's Zay Flowers. Talented? No doubt. Reliable? He's shown that. But can he truly be WR1? Some fans aren't convinced. He's explosive, but he doesn't have Tyreek Hill speed or the physicality of a prototypical number 1 target. He's Lamar's guy in the clutch, sure, but the size, the occasional drops, they matter. The Ravens still don't have a true alpha receiver, and that's why wideout remains a need. Is this finally the year the Ravens break through, silence the doubters, and hoist that Lombardi trophy again? Because that's what this is really all about, right? All the debates, the frustration, the celebrations, it's all about getting back to the top. And that's why the rest of this regular season, every snap, every adjustment, every decision made by this coaching staff is going to be scrutinized like never before. Take Sunday night against the Patriots. On paper, it's a game the Ravens should dominate. The Patriots are in a rebuild. Their offense is inconsistent. Their defense is banged up. But Ravens fans know better than to count any game as a sure win. And that's the dangerous part. Because while the Ravens are clearly the better team, it's the decisions behind the scenes that will determine how far this team really goes. And speaking of decisions, the conversation around John Harbaugh is heating up again, and not in a subtle way. The sentiment is growing that this could be his final shot. For some fans, the bar is the Super Bowl. Nothing less. Not a playoff win. Not an AFC title game. A Super Bowl. And you can't blame them. Because with Lamar Jackson in his prime, with this defense loaded with talent, and with additions like Derrick Henry brought in to win now, if not now, when? It's that harsh reality that makes this stretch run feel so intense. If the Ravens win out and get hot at the right time, all the noise goes away. Harbaugh stays. Questions fade. But if they stumble, if it's another year of what could have been, you might see an organizational shift that fans have been calling for since the heartbreaks of the past. And it's not just Harbaugh. The offensive identity has been a hot topic all year. The run game has lacked rhythm. The passing game, while improved, hasn't consistently found its groove. And if that continues, some are wondering if even bigger changes are necessary, like a shakeup in the coaching staff or a more aggressive approach in free agency. Because this team isn't in rebuild mode. They're in go-for-it mode. And that window, it doesn't stay open forever. Then you factor in the wild card of player usage. Keith Mitchell, for example, has become one of the most talked about names in Baltimore, not because of what he's done, but because of what he could do if the Ravens would just give him the ball. Every time he touches it, there's potential for a game-breaking play. And yet, the snaps are limited. The usage, inconsistent. Same with guys like Rashad Bateman, who seemed poised to break out last year, only to vanish this season. What's the plan there? Is he part of the long-term vision, or just a name on the depth chart? Then there's Taviante Walker. We've seen flashes, big plays, big speed, and still, minimal reps. Fans are starting to ask, are the Ravens wasting talent on the bench while chasing wins with a game plan that doesn't match their personnel? That's a tough question, but it's one worth asking. And let's not forget the defense. Yes, they've had dominant stretches, but there's a pattern that's hard to ignore: slow starts. Under coordinator Zach Orr, the defense has stumbled early in seasons, giving up big points to top offenses like Buffalo and Detroit. Those lapses cost the Ravens games and playoff positioning. You hold the Bills to under 30, you might win that game. You limit Detroit even slightly, suddenly, you're in a different tier of contenders. That's why some fans are calling for a top-tier pass rusher. Someone who can disrupt from the edge consistently. Because the Ravens haven't had that guy since Terrell Suggs was in his prime. A game wrecker. Someone who changes everything for the opposing QB. Right now, they have pieces. They have depth. But they don't have that guy. And without him, come playoff time, the pressure on the secondary becomes immense, especially if injuries pile up. The good news? This team still controls its destiny. Sunday night is another chance to show the league that this isn't just another almost season. A win against the Patriots doesn't prove everything, but it sets the tone. It sends a message, and it keeps the pressure on teams like the Dolphins, the Chiefs, and the Jaguars, all fighting for seeding. But it also opens the door to deeper questions. Because if the Ravens beat New England and the Steelers lose to the Lions, Week 17 against the Packers becomes a meaningless game in terms of standings. So what do? Play the starters and risk injury, or rest them and risk rust? Fans are split. Some say go full throttle, stay sharp. Others say protect your stars. Harbaugh's decision there could be a defining one, not just for the season, but for his future. And finally, we have to talk about Lamar Jackson, the face of the franchise, the MVP candidate, the guy who continues to carry this team week after week. But how much more can he carry if the supporting cast doesn't fully show up? He needs protection. He needs consistency from his receivers. And he needs a game plan that plays to his strengths. Because one thing's clear, if the Ravens want to win it all, it's going to come down to Lamar being at his absolute best when the lights are the brightest. So the big question is this: are the Ravens truly ready to make that Super Bowl push? Or are we heading toward another season of what-ifs? Let me know what you think, Ravens fans. Is this the team that finally gets it done? Or are there still too many holes to fill? Let me know in the comments.